tier list of assault carriers. Which is worse? Which is better? I am going to give you a very comprehensive tier list of all the assault carriers in the game. Okay. Just a couple of things that I want to note before I proceed. Number one, this is based on my experience. So if you don't agree with the tier list, please put in the comments, but say why you think that one assault carrier should be below or above a tier. Number two, I put this in three categories: A, B, and C. Okay, S and A and B. Sorry, only three tiers, so that way it's easier for you to see. Okay, so this is not a number from worst to best, but actually a tier list, because I consider that there are multiple ACVs that kind of behave the same. So I just put it in a tier list. And another final thing, at the end I will provide the tier list based on performance. However, I also have a second tier list taking into account the budget as well, because as you know, some of these carriers are cheaper than others, so I think that should be taken into consideration. So my first assessment is based on you don't have a lot of restrictions to get some carriers, and you were able to get a couple of them for free, let's put it this way, from the past. However, I'm still taking into account that on my assessment. Okay, so let's start with the B tier. Here we have the Storm, which is considered, I'm saying, the last one, but in my opinion it could be a little bit higher if you use the right armament. Okay, so what's the situation with RF Storm? It has the mobility, but in order to make it work, you need to have equipment dedicated to take out submarines, because the reason why it's down is because of its air defenses. You have 3 locked air defenses, which are fairly good against air targets and missiles, but still it's only 3. And you need to compensate that with your autocannons. So the Storm really demands you almost to have Seahawk C-Minute in order to compensate with the air defenses. And because of that, you will not be able to get AFGS, which enables you to pretty much fend off submarines. And that's something that I'm really taking into account on this tier list. The capability of an assault carrier to survive a submarine. So for me, it's very, very, very important. Storm is very capable if you are able to have equipment as I have over here. For example, Red Shark against submarines, RBU 10,000, if you got it, the NIWA's free. You have a capable strike fighter. You have this drone is for free, and you have a bomber that is able to take out submarines. For example, like KBX. Then actually, this could be even higher because it's free as well. So again, remember what I said at the beginning, I'm assessing based on performance, but if it was on budget, this will be a little bit higher on the list. So Storm, what is lacking is pretty much a drone, and we are seeing that the game has released a lot of drones at the moment. In the past, it was not such a big issue. I actually used drones only to open the map or just to take out strike fighters, but nowadays drones are actually very, very powerful. And by drones, I mean the Quaker and the Sable Warrior that just came up. So for that particular reason, Arab Storm is over here, but I will put it higher just because you can get it for $. But just based on performance, it's over here. Now, in B tier, at the high B tier, and this was between CN Type 004 and Typhoon, I am putting CN Type 004 here. Okay, this is a spectacular assault carrier. It has everything that you need in an assault carrier. almost everything. There's a reason why it's here. You have the grenade launchers to take out submarines. You have all the air equipment that you need. You have Comanche, yeah, you have 2 helicopters. And you have the most competitive defense over here with 4 autocannons and 8 air defenses. What's the problem with CN Type 004? It's speed. So its speed is a huge issue with CN Type 004. Does that mean it's not competitive? Not at all. Actually, I will say if you use a CN Type 004 and you are selective on the number of maps that you want to use, for example, you don't pick up, for example, Samurai, for example, Double Samurai or things like that. Maps that are disadvantageous, let's put it this way, for CN Type 004, maps that require you to move, then technically this could be all the way up to the top, up to the S tier. But I mean, the carriers in the S tier cost almost the same as CN Type 004, and they can be used in any map. So that's why it is here. It is fantastic against anti-ballistic missiles as well. But again, the problem is the speed. The speed limits where you can use CN Type 004, which is, I mean, you can contradict that with the speed up that you can use to make assault carriers faster, but that is really a high disadvantage. So this was very close between CN Type 004 on the B tier and the next one I'm going to put over here, which is going to be the Typhoon over here. Okay, so Typhoon has what CN Type 004, what it does not have. It has the speed to go very quickly. It has a very strong defense, autocannons, air defense, yeah, similar to CN Type 004. You have 2 missile slots that to some extent enable you to defend even more from submarines, and you can use a bomber to take out submarines. What's the catch with this carrier? It does not have a fighter. Opening the map is so important. So in order to open the map with this carrier, and in particular with all the carriers that are in the A tier, is that they don't have a consistent way to open the map. Means they don't have fighters, and in order to do that, you have to sacrifice one of these 3 planes in order to open the map, and that puts it in a disadvantage. Not for you. You are totally fine. You can totally fight a match, and you may not need to use like a plane in order to be competitive. The problem is your team. And that's a big one. That's something I mentioned with Charles de Gaulle. If you cannot open the map consistently, most likely you are going to, let's put it this way, lose the match because your team dies. In the past, I would have put Typhoon even higher because I used other drones, for example, like Wingman, to open the map. So I will literally use the drone only to open the map, and that's covered. And you don't need a fighter. But again, with the release of the new drones, meaning Quaker and Sable, things have changed because those 2 drones are like strike fighters. So you are losing firepower, let's put it this way. I will have considered putting it higher because at the end of the day, this was a free assault carrier as well. A free assault carrier. So you didn't need to put any money into this. If you were playing before, you had this for free. So with the right equipment, you can make Typhoon work and save until you get one of the ones above that are in the S tier. Alright? So now let's go with the other ones in the A tier. Not in particular order because they are kind of similar, but I'm going to say this based on my experience. Pang, okay, I'm going to put Pang in the A tier, second best. Again, fantastic assault carrier. Yeah, it has everything that you need with the exception of the drone. but this one has torpedoes that enable you to target submarines. And again, if you put a missile that enables you to take them out, that also covers that as well. If you use a drone that takes submarines, that's also good. If you have a drone that is able to open the map, you see the problem over here. Now you need a drone in order to open the map and to take out submarines, unless you have a bomber that does that. Then, I mean, yeah, it's a little bit of a hassle. It has a very high, let's put it this way, air defense, a total of 11, which is actually pretty high, very consistent regarding air defenses over here. And it has the speed, it has 3 helicopter slots as well, so it is pretty powerful. What makes these 2 assault carriers fall off a little bit? For example, you're saying, but this is a discernible Typhoon. There is something that these 2 do not have in comparison to Typhoon and on the ones above. They don't have autocannons, and autocannons enable you to put the autocannon defense against submarines. That's bottom line. And because they don't have that autocannon, you have to dedicate armament in order to take out submarines or to move. Whereas in reality, you could use one of the assault carriers above and get close to any submarines and you don't really care. And it's a big thing because matches now, almost all of them have a submarine, and you need to be able to take out the submarine at the end of the match. You just don't have to think about it, let's put it this way. Again, very capable. You have all the equipment that you need in order to fend off submarines, but again, you don't have a drone. Number 1 on the A tier, let's put it this way. Let's go back. Tianjin. I used Tianjin before, and for me, it was almost like a carrier that will, let's put it this way, enable you to very consistently win a match. The idea was that, first of all, let me talk about the equipment and then we talk about why. You have, instead of Pang, you have an autocannon, grenade launchers, you have 3 helicopters, right? And you have a very strong air defense as well. You have a total of 8. Pang has more, but it's not such a big of an issue. The reason why I put it over here over Pang is because I used to rank up with Tianjin. And the reason why it's here is because it was able to defend itself better against any type of ship that will try to rush you. So if you are at the end of the match, let's put it this way, and it's a 3 versus 3, and a ship is close to you, instead of saying, oh crap, a ship is nearby, we are going to lose the match, this is more like, oh, a ship is nearby, I can actually take it out. I can use my bomber, reduce its health, regenerate the armament of the bomber, attack that ship again, and then afterwards use my armament, meaning the cannon and the grenade launchers, to fend off. So that was the idea, that you were not at the mercy of any type of ship that will come close to you. And because of that, it enabled you to pretty much be more consistent in ranked. What changed my mind? Again, is the same situation. Drones have become very powerful, and ideally you want to have the drone to make more damage rather than just to open the map, so you lose a lot of air capability. You can to some extent do more with a drone that is doing damage rather than just to open the map, or with a strike fighter for that matter. And same as Tank, it does not have autocannons, which is a huge deal, because at the end of the day, if you have a submarine coming underneath you, there's nothing you can do about it, unless again your bomber has armament that is able to take out submarines, and you have a second bomber that does not die at the end of the match. So that's why it's over here. Plus, of course, just a little thing to consider, right? Pang and Tianjin, they cost money to get. They cost. These are gacha ships. You don't just have them. Yeah. So that's why they are over here. Okay. So those are my picks for tier number A. Let's go with tier number S. Okay. Let's go with Suikaku. A couple of people may say, "Oh my goodness, but Suikaku, I mean, has fallen off, and Enterprise is better," and things like that. Okay. First of all, let's compare. Enterprise has 19 speed and maneuverability of 6.5, whereas this one has a speed of 18 and maneuverability of 7.8. What is happening? This one is able to move better at the end of the day, and it matches that. I mean, if you need speed, you need to move. Let's put it this way. And this one is able to rotate faster. Plus, I used it recently. Some people will put it lower, but I used it recently, and I didn't find, let's put it this way, any reason whatsoever why Suikaku cannot be as consistent as Enterprise, of course with the exception of a very strong caveat. Okay, so having said that, Suikaku has all air equipment, has 2 missile batteries, you have now an autocannon to fend up submarines, and you have a total of, let's put it this way, 6 air defenses. This one is actually pretty strong. But it's the same number of air defenses as Enterprise. So why is this lower than Enterprise? Well, it has only one helicopter. It has only one helicopter, and that is why Enterprise is all the way up. Because at the end of the day, if someone comes and rushes you, you are able to defend yourself just a little bit better. Whereas this one only has one helicopter. And same situation with submarines. Again, when you are with an Enterprise, you have more helicopters, so you are able to take out the submarine faster, let's put it this way. And of course, between the two of them, Enterprise, before you needed only to pay gold in order to, money, dollars in order to get it. So a lot of people got it for free because they bought the Enterprise, and then all of a sudden it became a gold ship. So all of a sudden, a lot of people got the Enterprise, the best carrier, assault carrier in the game, for free because they only pay dollars. Now it's gold. So that's why Suikaku is over here. Even if you have to choose between which one to take, right? CN Type 004, Suikaku, and Enterprise. Spoiler alert, Enterprise is number 1, alright? But there's no reason why not to pick the Enterprise. But if you have a Suikaku, if for some reason you said, "Oh, Foxhound, but in the past I put money on Suikaku," does that mean that I have to get an Enterprise? It's a must? I will say, I mean, it's not a must. This assault carrier can do almost 90% of what the Enterprise can do. So technically there is no huge reason to say why this is not a disadvantage. But again, this falls up just based on the timing, based on a lot of people got the Enterprise for free, and based on the helicopters. That's the only thing that Enterprise has higher than this one. Okay, at number 2, and even I would consider Suikaku and Rock Ghost Commander to be almost at the same level. Why is that? Because cost acquisition. So you said, "Oh, you paid gold." Well, Ghost Commander is a gacha ship. It's a freaking gacha ship. So that makes it even tougher to say why it's not number S, because a lot of people doesn't have this. Why will you want to put your money on a Ghost Commander if you could get just a free ship? Remember, this discussion is based on performance. It's not based on budget. But I have another tier list based on budget. So let's go to Ghost Commander. Why it's over here, Foxhound? It's a very simple reason. Okay, This ship is fairly exclusive, so if you have a lot of resources, in the past you got the Ghost Commander and you have all top equipment. For example, you have the Red Shark missile to take out submarines. You have a very good strike fighter, but most importantly, you have a drone that is able to open the map and is able to do damage. Alert Wingman Twing Twing or Sable Warrior Twing Twing. So if you have one of those, then you are able to open the map. So you are pretty much covering yourself by opening the map by using one of the drones. Why can you do that? Because you have, you name it, you have another drone. So now you are not at a disadvantage, let's put it this way, to open the map, because you have two sorts of drones and you can even do damage with one of them. So that is pretty important. You only have one helicopter. Okay, that's a little bit of a downside, but you still have the autocannons in order to fend off. Why is it fairly high if I am going to treat this as a normal assault carrier in comparison to other ones? I'm doing this because of the air defense. It has a very high number of air defenses. You have a total of 11, which is the highest number of air defenses that you can have. Of course, you can only modify one, but still the air defense is very capable. And the second thing is that this ship is fairly quick as well. It has a high speed, the highest speed of everything that I have said before, and high maneuverability. So you can position yourself faster, let's put it this way, and you have the speed together, and you have everything to cover for your flaws. The only thing that it does not have in comparison to number one is the 3 helicopters, let's put it this way, but you are counteracting that with the number of air defenses that you have, and it has the autocannons to defend against the submarine. So even if you don't have an helicopter, it's fine, you can easily defend yourself, let's put it this way. So if it's so good, why it's number 2? It's very simple. Hard to get, and you need to have an expensive build in order to make it work. That's the thing. So Sable Warrior is not a cheap drone. Wingman is not a cheap drone. You could have 2 Quakers, but it doesn't work as well because Quaker is not as good as maintaining the map open, so you need another drone to do that. I mean, it's not a big issue. You have alternatives, right, to open the map, yeah, and take out ships. But of course, this drone is not strong as a fighter. So, yeah, if you are going to use this, might as well use the better equipment because you are flexing, right, your resources. So that's number 2 on the S tier. Guess who is going to be on number 1? And this is not going to be, of course, a dispute. Is the Enterprise. The Enterprise has everything that all the previous assault carriers have, right? I agree, it has less speed and less maneuverable than the Ghost Commander, but you can always use a speed up with gold to make that faster. And you have, again, you have the grenade launchers in order to take out the submarines. You have all the equipment that you need, right? You have 3 helicopters, which is more against submarines. They cannot touch you. So by having this setup, you don't have to worry at all about a submarine. So it's like, put it this way, in a match, the submarine is going to be there. So by having this equipment, you don't have to worry about that submarine at all. So if you are able to take out, let's put it this way, all ships and the carrier, you have pretty much won the map, even if it's only you against the submarine, because he cannot touch you. You are untouchable against that submarine. So that is a huge advantage that you have against others. It is true that Enterprise has slightly less air defenses than, for example, Ghost Commander or the other previous ones. But I didn't find that big of an issue. Let's put it this way. And even if we put it in equal footing, like yeah, Ghost Commander has slightly more defenses, yeah, but Ghost Commander is a gacha ship, and Pang and Tianjin are gacha ships, and Typhoon is missing a drone. So what are you left with? Enterprise. This ship, people got it from with only dollars, and now it's a gold ship, and it's almost like the best carrier in the game, and most of people got it for free. So that is just insane. That is just insane. So for that particular reason, I will say that Enterprise is number one on my tier list. Okay, number one on my tier list. I will still, I mean, when I rank up, it will be between Enterprise and Rock Guns Commander. Okay, so that is pretty much the tier list. Now I am going to show you again the final tier list, but also I'm going to show you an alternative tier list based on budget. So I will be right back. Okay guys, we are back, and here you have the final tier list. Again, as I can say, like this is based on only on performance. Enterprise coming on top, with Ghost Commander almost equal to Suikaku. You have Pang, Tianjin, and Typhoon on A tier, and on B tier you have CN Type 004 and Storm. Again, remember, this is just my personal opinion, and I believe that with the right armament and skill, you can cover up with the weaknesses of any type of assault carrier if you, again, use the right equipment and use the proper strategy to cover for your weaknesses. The ones in the S tier are covered for all weaknesses, despite your skill, let's put it this way. So that's why they are up there. But if we take into account money-wise, because you are going to say, Foxhound, but what's the point if, I mean, if you have all the resources in you, so then what's the point, right? If we take into account budget-wise, right? I will say that this is how I will put the tier list, right? The changes over here that I'm putting Suikaku above Ghost Commander, Pang, and Tianjin, because the ones on the A tier, they cost you quite an amount of money in order to get them, whereas Typhoon was for free, was technically for free. So I agree that Typhoon could be lower if you didn't get it for free. Then yes, by all means, it's in the B tier, kind of. But if you got it for free, Typhoon is up there, I think. Storm is down there as well, but again, with the right equipment, I think you can be very, very, very competitive. I could have been considering putting into the A tier even, but this is also taking into account that for some particular reason, some of you have R coins to spare, then Pang is better than Storm, of course. But also, final note, CN Type 004 is down there. Again, it is not a bad assault carrier, but the reason why it's down there is that it costs the same amount of resources that it does to buy an Enterprise in comparison to CN Type 004 or Suikaku for that matter. So that's the only reason why it's there. Okay, and you have the speed. If you have the luxury, yes, to have all of them, and you don't care about where you spend your gold, yeah, it can be in A tier, no problem. But you still have the problem with the speed. So this is the budget version, let's put it this way, of the tier list. Again, this is just my opinion. And yeah, I mean, please let me know in the comments what you think. I'd love to hear that from you guys. I hope that you are getting ready for the end of the year. And aside of that, well, thank you very much for reaching this far. This is Foxhound. Before I check off, I remember I'm also going to do this for the fighters as well, and me and the bombers. For bombers, it's going to be more tricky because I don't have a couple of them that were under a paywall, of course. But I may do this for strike fighters in the future, and then eventually bombers. Okay, I have said enough. This is Foxhound, signing off. Have a good day.